Okay, I'm live. Cool. So I have this video that has received a lot of feedback. It's like one of my most popular in terms of commented coaching videos on my channel. It's called Why Are People So Mean? And this has obviously triggered a lot of people. And I don't know if those people are going to be watching this video, but I thought it was worth making another one because I was at a different level when I made that video. And now I think about things a little bit differently, although I'm still not going to say people are mean because they suck. So I think first of all, when people are triggered, that's because something within them is being brought up. Okay. So don't be afraid of your triggers. If I'm triggering you, that's great. That's a really wonderful opportunity to, tell me to F off. If you feel like it, you can throw a pillow at your screen. You can turn this off. But by all means, please don't just bury it and go like, well, she's just, an idiot for not understanding me. You don't have to like me. That's not what I mean, but it is a really great opportunity for you to ask yourself, okay, why is this bothering me so much? Like, what a great opportunity, because if it's bothering me, then there's something within me that's not resolved, right? So if I'm being bothered, if I'm being triggered, and I have been in the past, and that's why I made this video, if I'm being triggered by somebody telling me that people are being mean to me because or I'm feeling hurt by other people. I think that's kind of a better way of phrasing it too, because people aren't even necessarily trying to be mean to us. We're just taking it that way. Sometimes people are trying to be mean to us, but let's say that their comments are neutral and it's just the way that we're interpreting it that is feeling really awful. So that's a feeling that exists within me. And if somebody's comment, if somebody's criticism, let's take the criticism I got for that video, for example, if that means something to me, if that makes me feel bad about myself, then I must inside me somewhat believe that that's true. So I must believe that I don't know what I'm talking about, or I must believe if that's affecting me in that way, right? Now, I do feel like I know what I'm talking about. So what I'm seeing when I see people commenting like, she's all wrong about this, or, whatever it is I'm saying like, oh, okay, you're not ready to ask yourself that question yet. And that's totally fine. But what a great opportunity to ask yourself a question about yourself. And the question could be, what do I believe about myself that is causing me to be triggered by this? And one of the things that you might believe about yourself is that you are the victim of a lot of meanness, okay? And I have been there. I have felt that way. I felt that way most of my life. And that's why this topic is so important to me. And I love that people are engaging with that video so much. One of the subtleties that I think people aren't maybe listening to because they're not ready to hear is that something being your responsibility, meaning I'm responsible for how I feel, is not the same thing as something being your fault. Because when we talk about fault, we're saying you did something wrong to cause this. No, you were perfect. You acted perfectly. This event, this moment where you're being triggered, is the perfect opportunity for you to look at yourself, and therefore everything you did leading up to it was perfect. So you did nothing wrong. No one else did anything wrong. Everybody acted in exactly the right way for the culmination of these feelings to occur. And what's happening now is you're left with some uncomfortable emotions and you're going, ick, I don't want to feel that way. It's your fault. Again, I've been there. So we as a culture are uncomfortable with emotions that feel icky. We don't like seeing people cry. We don't like seeing people get angry. We would prefer that people be happy around us all the time. And you know what? That's super unrealistic and it's unfair. And it's a standard that we hold our children to. And it creates a lot of dysfunctional people. And we're seeing a lot of dysfunction in super high ranking positions right now. And you know what? They're all little children who were not allowed to express and feel their emotions and were not told that they were valid, and we're not told that they were normal. People feel things. So you feel triggered by what I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with that. Feel it. Feel that. Ask yourself why. Be curious about yourself, because this whole journey of you existing in this life is a journey of getting to know yourself and understanding what's going on at a deeper level. So me saying that you are responsible for how you feel, 100% true. Who else is responsible for how you feel? But is it your fault? Of course not. You didn't do anything wrong. Feeling is not wrong. So therefore it's not your fault. Is it someone else's fault that you feel the way that you feel? Well, you could say that. The thing that I don't like about that is that it puts how you get to feel in someone else's hands. So it's not untrue that you could say that I triggered you, therefore it's my fault. I mean, you could say that. But then you're putting the power in my hands. And now I get to be the puppeteer that tells you how you get to feel. And in my mind, that's not super empowering. So why not say, I get to feel how I want to feel. I'm going to turn this video off and I'm going to think about why I'm feeling this way. What in my life has led me to believe that feeling negative emotions is wrong? Why do I believe that? Do I believe that crying is a sign of weakness? Do I believe that anger is scary? Do I believe that the only good way to be is cheerful and positive? Those are great things to look at, because that's going to be a super dysfunctional way of leading your life, and it's going to lead you to being triggered by more people. And if you keep putting your well-being in the hands of other people, saying, well, they made me feel this way, this made me feel this way, that's fine. It's not wrong. It's not untrue. It's just not empowering. It's not giving yourself the benefit of being the powerful creator of your reality. And when we talk about creating a reality, because I'm speaking to people who have maybe, heard of like concepts of law of attraction and, that we are creators, we're not talking about like the manufacturing of events that are going to make us feel positive. In other words, we're not going to put ourselves in a padded cell where no wind comes in and no feathers are ruffled and everything is just pristine all the time, because that is not life. So things are going to get triggered. Buttons are going to get pushed. People who are super, look like they're enjoying their lives a ton. Let's say that they really are. They're having what you would call negative experiences all the time. The only difference is that their perception of it is not, oh, if I'm experiencing this, if someone's calling me an idiot, then I must be, or I'm, they're mean, or they're an idiot, or, like that you're actually trying to fight back, not feeling that emotion, that lack of self-worth, because if you did feel worthy about yourself, if that were a completely ridiculous concept, somebody calling you an idiot, then it wouldn't faze you, right? If somebody called you, oh my God, your skin is so green, and you're like, no, it's not, that's ridiculous. It wouldn't, how could that bother you? How could it bother you that someone was calling your skin green if you knew what color your skin was? Or that, like, man, your stripes look awful today. And you're like, I don't have stripes. What are you talking about? You must have a skewed perception. I do not have stripes, and I feel fine about that. And then you might kind of giggle because they're a little bit crazy, but that's what's going on all the time. So people are reflecting stuff back to you. The only reason that you're having a negative reaction to it has to do with your belief system. So if you believed that you were a striped person for some reason, then somebody calling your stripes awful today might insult you. If you knew that you were not striped, then how could that bother you? So something is mean based on your belief system, right? And anyway, so that's sort of I think that's all I wanted to talk about today. I really appreciate the interactions that I've been getting on that video. I took a picture the other day with, I'll just leave you with this, with a rose. And I was thinking about how roses have all these thorns and they're really prickly. And the caption that I gave to the photo was, roses are prickly, they are not being mean. So depending on your belief in the agency of a rose, you might interpret the rose pricking you as an act of unkindness. But the rose has no, the rose isn't being mean. The rose is not intending to be mean. That's its nature. That is its nature. It has thorns. We get to avoid them. We get to enjoy the beauty of the rose. And, that's sort of the same thing with people. We get to, now they do have agency, but we get to decide what parts of them we are going to focus on. We get to decide if we want to spend time, around them. We get to decide if we want to place value on that relationship. A lot of the comments in the post had to do with family relations. And, I have another video about families, but this is a really hard one for me to really embody, but intellectually, I can understand that family members are important to a certain degree. Our mother and our father were instrumental in us coming to this planet, but when we're an adult, we get to choose if we want that relationship to matter to us. We get to choose if we want to create a new family. Maybe we have friends that mean a lot to us and that's our family. And we can decide that, our mother is a woman, and we get to decide if we like her or if we don't, if we want to spend time with her or we don't. We attach a lot of unhealthy weight to certain relationships based on our culture, TV shows, but it's like the relationship between a mother and a daughter should look this way. That's completely arbitrary. And if you go from culture to culture, it's very different. Families stay more or less together based on where you are in the world. Parents have a different role based on where you are in the world, and you can make up a role for somebody in your life. You can decide that your mother's role is, the same as your neighbor's if you want. You can decide that your mother's role is your best friend. And that's really going to depend on how you feel about that person. But the whole point of this, so I guess I wasn't leaving you with that, but the whole point of this video is to say that I don't ever talk about fault, because that would insinuate that there's a wrongdoing. I talk about responsibility because that's what I can do. I talk about empowered because that's something that I can affect. I can choose if I'm going to feel empowered about something or not. I can choose to be responsible for how I feel. When I talk about fault, that doesn't feel so good. I don't want to be the one in the wrong. Nobody wants to be told that they're the one in the wrong. And you don't have to be in the wrong for how you feel ever. So that's it. All right. Lovely chatting with you. Thanks for those of you who joined me for the whole thing, and feel free to comment. All right. Bye.